He built one of the most recognizable worlds in fashion, without ever raising his voice. No scandals, no viral outbursts, no shock tactics. Just a quiet conviction so believable that decades later, people are still choosing to live inside the life he imagined. There's a kind of confidence that doesn't arrive with noise. It doesn't announce itself with sparkle or spectacle. It moves differently, slower, quieter, as if it already knows where it belongs. You've seen it before. That moment when someone enters a room, not demanding to be noticed, but somehow everyone does. They don't rush, they don't perform, they simply exist with calm certainty. And deep down, you can feel it. This isn't an act, it's something they built choice by choice, long before you ever saw it.
Ralph Lauren grew up in the Bronx, not the charming New York character version of the Bronx. The son of a house painter and self-described artist, sharing a bedroom with two older brothers, wearing their hand-me-downs, watching the world he wanted through magazine pages and storefront windows version of the Bronx. And from that starting point, no money, no connections, no fashion pedigree, no invitation to the room he desperately wanted to be in, he built one of the most recognizable luxury brands on earth. Not by faking it, not by begging for access, by doing something that sounds simple and is actually incredibly hard. He figured out exactly what people wanted to feel, and then he sold them that feeling. This is that story. Here's the insight that built an empire, and I want you to actually sit with it, because it's better than it sounds. Ralph Lauren noticed something while studying the people who had what he didn't. Something most outsiders miss when they're looking in. It wasn't the clothes, it wasn't the money, it was the ease. The way certain people moved through a room like they'd already won, like the world had been arranged slightly in their favor and they'd simply accepted it. There was no trying, no performing, just this quiet, unshakable confidence that said, without saying anything, I belong here. And he asked himself a question that nobody in fashion was really asking at the time. What if you could sell that feeling? Not the clothes, not the status, the feeling of already belonging. Because here's the thing. In the 1960s, fashion had two speeds. You had high luxury, cold, distant, inaccessible, the kind of thing that required a family crest just to walk through the door. And you had mass market, cheap, available, completely soulless, built for volume, not for meaning. And if you were a kid from the Bronx who wanted something in between, you were out of luck. Ralph Lauren decided to build the middle. A space where craft met warmth, where luxury felt human, where you didn't need a pedigree. You just needed to believe in the version of yourself wearing it. Before we go further, has a brand ever genuinely made you feel something? Not just I like this product, but actually made you feel like a different version of yourself? Drop the brand in the comments. I want to see what's actually working on people at a psychological level. If you're new here, we do deep dives on the ideas, people, and strategies behind the things that shaped how the world works. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Free, 2 seconds. Worth it. Okay, back to Ralph. Okay, so here's my favorite part of this story because it is deeply uncomfortable and then suddenly isn't. Before the showroom, before the brand, before any of it, Ralph Lauren started his fashion empire selling ties. Out of a single drawer, in a small office in the Empire State Building. He made deliveries to stores himself. That was the whole operation. The ties weren't ordinary. They were wide, bold, and completely out of step with what everyone else was selling at the time. Buyers thought he was crazy. He kept going anyway. Eventually, he scrapes together enough to get buyers into an actual showroom. He's arranged everything meticulously. Every garment has its own space. It's quiet, it's considered, it whispers instead of screams. And the buyers cycle through and nothing. Polite indifference, hangers flipped, eyes glazed, too simple, too quiet, too whatever. And then one buyer stops, turns around, looks at the whole room, and asks, "Who is this for?" Not a compliment, not a criticism. A genuine question with a challenge underneath it. Because if you can't answer who it's for, you don't have a brand. You just have clothes. And here's where Ralph Lauren earned everything that came after. Because his answer wasn't about fabric or fit or price point. It was about a life. Weekends with nowhere urgent to be. Sunlight through a window. The kind of person who doesn't dress to impress a room. They dress like they already belong there. He wasn't describing a customer. He was describing a state of mind. And the buyer got it. Here's the thing about the fashion industry. Trends move fast, burn bright, and disappear. Every season is a reinvention. Every year is a new thing to chase. Ralph Lauren did the opposite, on purpose. While everyone else was screaming for attention, he was editing, refining, saying no to things that didn't fit the world he was building. The colors stayed grounded: navy, cream, camel, forest. The fabrics lived between comfort and ceremony. The silhouettes were timeless, not because he couldn't do trendy, because he understood that trust is built slowly, and identity doesn't need shock value, it needs consistency. Every store, every campaign, every scent and photograph, all of it whispering the same idea. This is a life lived with intention. You didn't feel sold to when you walked into a Ralph Lauren store. You felt seen. And that, more than any specific garment, is what made people come back. Decade after decade, trend cycle after trend cycle. They could leave, explore, try other things, and come back, and the world he built would still be there. Still steady, still recognizable, still true. Hot take, and I want the room's opinion. Is Ralph Lauren genuinely a great brand, or is it one of the greatest marketing operations ever built that happens to also sell clothes? These are not the same thing, and I have a view, but I want yours first. Drop it in the comments. This story is not really about fashion. It's about something more transferable than that. Ralph Lauren didn't have the background, didn't have the connections, didn't have anyone handing him a seat at the table. What he had was observation, the ability to study a world he wasn't born into, understand it better than most people inside it, and then build a bridge that let everyone else in. He sold belonging to people who felt like outsiders, and he was one. That's the move. Not faking it, not demanding access. Understanding what people actually want to feel, not what they say they want, what they actually want, and then building the thing that delivers it. You're designing something whether you know it or not. Your career, your reputation, the way you show up. The question is whether you're doing it on purpose or by accident. Ralph Lauren did it on purpose, thread by thread, season by season, for 60 years. Influence that lasts doesn't come from the loudest voice in the room. It comes from the most consistent one, not the one that chases the moment, the one that outlives it. Subscribe for the next one. We're going deep on another brand that rewrote the rules of its entire industry from the outside in. Drop a comment. What's the single biggest thing you took from Ralph Lauren's story? See you in the next one.